you are so identified with this, like the iconic role of Stifler, you must have people in... After all these years... And the good news is you take good care of yourself. You look exactly the same. You know what I mean?
I've always looked 45.
Seann William Scott was born October 3, 1976, in Cottage Grove, Minnesota, the youngest of 7 siblings. He grew up in a working-class family and attended Park High School, where he played sports like football and basketball. Despite his small-town upbringing, Scott harbored big dreams of becoming an actor. Inspired by the performances of action stars like Bruce Willis and comedic icons like Jim Carrey, he decided to pursue a career in Hollywood. He moved to LA after high school, and like many aspiring actors, he took on various odd jobs to support himself, including working at Home Depot. He appeared in commercials, most notably for Sunny Delight and American Express. His first notable acting gig was a small role in the show Unhappily Ever After in 1998. Breakthrough, American Pie.
So what was your first big break in show business?
American Pie.
Great character.
Thank you.
Love that movie.
Thank you.
Watched it at least 5 times.
Scott's life changed dramatically when he was cast as Steve Stifler in the 1999 teen comedy American Pie. The film, directed by Paul Weitz, was a massive hit, grossing over $235 million worldwide and becoming a cultural phenomenon. Scott's portrayal of Stifler, the obnoxious but oddly endearing party animal, made him a standout star of the film. His character's crude humor, over-the-top antics, and catchphrases quickly became iconic, making Scott a household name almost overnight. After the incredible popularity of American Pie, he acted in the sequels American Pie 2 and American Wedding, both of which were also commercially successful. By this time, Stifler had become one of the most beloved comedic characters of the early 2000s, and Scott had firmly established himself as a leading comedic actor. Expanding his career.
Did you ever think you'd be doing a sitcom, like in front of a live studio audience?
No,
right?
like I never, it's funny because I was actually working on Righteous Gemstone and having an incredible time, but I was away from my daughter, and she's 4.5, and I was away for like a month. I was like, I don't ever want to, although it was like this incredible opportunity, I was like, I don't want to be away from her like this ever again. And this opportunity came around, the Tim Allen show, and I was like, sitcom? I'm like, I don't know. Like creatively, I was like, I don't know if I can do what I think I'd like to do in that format. Mm-hmm. And then a couple of the actors that I was working with on Gemstones was like, do you want to be a dad? Do you want to have time with your kids? Sitcoms are the best schedule.
After American Pie, he sought to diversify. He starred in Dude, Where's My Car alongside Ashton Kutcher. Though the film received mixed reviews, it became a cult classic and was financially successful. He continued his momentum with roles in other comedies like Road Trip and Old School, both of which catered to the same audience that had embraced his Stifler persona. But Scott didn't limit himself to comedies. He ventured into action films with Bulletproof Monk, where he played a young man trained in martial arts by Chow Yun-Fat's character. Unfortunately, the film underperformed at the box office and got poor reviews. This marked Scott's first real setback. He followed this with The Rundown, co-starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Though it received better reviews, it struggled commercially. Around this time, he entered the world of voice acting as well, voicing the character Crash in Ice Age: The Meltdown and its subsequent sequels. By the late 2000s, his career had started to decline. While he continued working, many of his films either underperformed at the box office or were critically panned. His raunchy comedy Balls Out, Gary the Tennis Coach went largely unnoticed, and Cop Out, in which he co-starred with Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan, was a financial disappointment. One of his better-received films during this period was Role Models in 2008, co-starring Paul Rudd. The film was both a critical and commercial success, reminding audiences of Scott's comedic talents. But it was one of few bright spots in a career that was losing momentum. The American Pie franchise had been Scott's biggest claim to fame, so when American Reunion was announced, fans were excited to see him return as Stifler. The film performed moderately well at the box office, but it was clear the franchise had lost much of its cultural relevance. Around this time, he also entered rehab for undisclosed reasons. While he never publicly discussed his struggles in detail, it was speculated that personal issues and the pressures of Hollywood had taken their toll on him. Despite these setbacks, he kept working. He found a niche audience with Goon, a hockey comedy in which he played Doug Glatt, a kind-hearted but tough enforcer for a minor league hockey team. The film was well received, and Scott's performance was praised for showing a different side of him. It even spawned a sequel, Goon: Last of the Enforcers, though it didn't achieve the same level of success as the original. He tried to reinvent himself by taking on darker, more serious roles. He starred in Bloodline, a psychological thriller in which he played a serial killer who targeted abusive people. The film got mixed reviews, but was noted for showcasing Scott in a role unlike anything he'd done before. But it was a small indie film and did little to boost his career. In 2018, he replaced Clayne Crawford in the TV series Lethal Weapon, joining for the third season as the new lead character after Crawford was fired. While his performance was generally well received, the show was canceled after the season ended. What the future holds.
So I figured it out. Why hot dogs come in packages of 10 and hot dog buns come in packages of 8. See, the thing is that life doesn't always work out according to plan. So be happy with what you got, so you can always get a hot dog.
Today, Seann William Scott's career is a shadow of what it once was. He still works sporadically, but is no longer in the mainstream spotlight. The biggest issue he faces is Hollywood's shift away from the type of comedies that made him famous. In the early 2000s, raunchy juvenile humor was highly popular, but modern comedies tend to be more character-driven and socially conscious. As a result, actors like Scott, who built their careers on over-the-top comedic performances, have struggled to find their place. And he's been typecast. Despite his attempts to branch out, he's still primarily seen as Stifler in the eyes of many directors and casting agents. This makes it difficult for him to land roles outside of his established persona. Unlike some of his early 2000s peers, Scott has not transitioned to directing, producing, or writing, which has left him with limited options. He also lacks the significant social media presence that many actors use to stay relevant. But he's not entirely out of the game. He recently appeared in the Fox comedy series Welcome to Flatch, though it didn't generate much buzz. He's also expressed interest in revisiting Goon or working on a new project that could redefine his image. There have been occasional rumors of another American Pie film, and while Scott has said he would consider reprising his role, it's unclear if the franchise has enough remaining appeal to warrant another sequel. For now, Scott's future in Hollywood remains uncertain. He's talented, charismatic, and has a loyal fan base. But finding his place in the current industry climate is a challenge. Whether he reinvents himself with new types of roles or fades into obscurity remains to be seen. But given his history of resilience, it wouldn't be surprising if he manages to stage a comeback in some form. In a way, he already has, as he's been cast in the series Shifting Gears, which stars Tim Allen. Fans are hopeful that this will revive his career. Seann William Scott's career is a classic example of the highs and lows of Hollywood fame. He rose to prominence with American Pie, became one of the most recognizable comedic actors of the early 2000s, but ultimately struggled to maintain his career as Hollywood's tastes evolved. While his more recent years have been defined by box office failures and limited opportunities, he remains a beloved figure for fans who grew up with his films. Whether he finds his way back into the mainstream remains uncertain, but his journey in Hollywood has been a fascinating one, full of immense success, frustrating setbacks, and the challenge of staying relevant in an ever-changing industry. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think Seann William Scott will ever make a full comeback? Let us know in the comments section below.